At the just concluded 2022 Huawei Developer Conference, HDC 2022, the upgraded version of the sign language Digital Human appeared again, providing real-time translation for the conference's keynote speech. Compared with last year's HDC, sign language Digital Human has not only been optimized in image, but also increased to 20,000 plus sign language vocabulary. It can also support up to 26 kinds of facial expressions and accurate oral movements, so as to achieve the appropriate level when needed. Emotional expression greatly improves the intelligibility of sign language. Such a digital person who can speak sign language is not limited to coming a star at the Huawei Developer Conference for 2 consecutive years. In fact, in scenarios such as government websites, schools, and mobile applications, sign language digital people have gradually started to work. In fact, it is not easy to make a sophisticated digital human. If a high degree of customization is required, the technical threshold will only be raised to a higher level. This also causes the current digital people to have a taste of luxury goods from big manufacturers. After all, not everyone can afford such high costs and production complexity. Taking sign language Digital Human as an example, a large part of the demand comes from schools, non-profit organizations, etc. Behind these phenomena, there are actually a series of difficulties in the production and application of digital people. Big factories race to lower the threshold of Digital Human landing. If you want to explore the bottleneck of Digital Human landing, you need to look at its production process. The process of making a digital human can be divided into 3 stages: modeling, driving and rendering. Modeling is to set up the basic skeleton model of the digital human, the driver is responsible for making the model move like a human, and the rendering is responsible for making the model look like a human. It does not sound difficult, but in the traditional digital human production process, each stage faces the problems of complicated operations, high algorithm thresholds, and long development cycles, and the cost is more affordable for large enterprises. The extremely high production threshold does not match the service scenarios that digital humans mainly focus on. Demanders such as banks, government services, live broadcast rooms, scenic spots, schools, etc. often do not have the technical ability to independently develop and produce digital people, and the production costs they can afford are relatively limited. Under this circumstance, many technology manufacturers such as Huawei are competing to get involved in the research and development of the digital human field, trying to lower the technical threshold of each production stage. In terms of modeling, the traditional method often uses multidirectional cameras to scan the models, collect body data such as lips, expressions, facial muscles, limb details and posture when speaking, and then design and model according to needs, such as cartoon air, hyper-realistic style, etc. But, the workload behind this is very large, and it requires professional operation. In contrast, there are already more AI algorithms to lower the threshold of 3D modeling and adapt to different digital human styles. And how to spell the most suitable cartoon face with only one photo in millisecond time, and at the same time change the most suitable style, is the ability of multimodal base model fusion technology. Relying on a large number of basic geometry, 1K+, and shape materials, 100+, and with millions of AI training data, efficient modeling can be easily achieved. Through the cooperation of 3D Cartoon Digital Human Modeling Service and HMS Core Sign Language Service, whether it is an enthusiastic and lively sign language teacher, or a dignified and friendly sign language live host, it can be done quickly. After the modeling is completed, it is driven and rendered, so that the model can not only have a natural expression and smooth body movements like a human being, but also have a certain language understanding and expression ability. Although traditional platforms have action libraries to reduce the difficulty of manual production, the most complex is often the transition between two actions, and the process of corresponding speech, text and expressions frame by frame. At present, some big factories have tried to use algorithms to get action transitions. As for the correspondence between voice and text and expressions, AI algorithms can be used to reduce the workload. In this HDC, Huawei officially released the HMS Core 3D engine, which can not only perform real-time rendering of the super-large digital world, but also provide a set of real-time skeletal animation, facial expression animation, footstep/full body cloth the driver of the digital human. A toolkit for doll systems, animation retargeting, and multi-animation fusion. The animation editor of 3D engine not only supports the creation of multiple action state machines, but also can smoothly transition the actions of multiple characters to solve the problem of unsmooth between digital human actions. In addition to pure action driving, giving digital people the ability to understand and express is also a factor that determines the authenticity of driving. The sign language service of HMS Core uses AI algorithms to open up the ability of sign language expression and understanding for digital people. Based on a large number of deep learning algorithms, the model learns the potential mapping relationship between speech, lip shape, and expression parameters. The sign language service drives the model through the HMS Core 3D engine to automatically perform corresponding actions when receiving input signals. After modeling and driving, it's time for the final rendering. Traditional methods tend to be extremely computationally intensive, not to mention the real-time. Especially for realistic digital people, in order to avoid high latency, real-time rendering often chooses to sacrifice the realism of digital human beings, including skin, hair, eyes and other parts. It is very difficult to create realism. In the end, only 3D cartoon digital human can be used to complete the live broadcast. In this context, the 3D engine of HMS Core not only achieves real-time rendering, but also restores the real effect of realistic digital people as much as possible. The digital human presented by the 3D engine can not only interact with the scene in real time, but also be detailed enough in the rendering of skin material, hair simulation, eyeball material, etc. These details directly affect the fidelity of the digital human. On the skin material, the gloss and transparency of the skin are enhanced through subsurface reflection and double leaf highlights, presenting a more natural skin effect. On the hair, 100,000 plus hair movements are completed through real-time physical simulation to enhance the shadow, translucency and highlight rendering effects of the hair. The restoration of the eyeball is even accurate to the refractive index of the iris, pupil, sclera, lens, etc., and is adjusted according to the parameters. Overall, compared with the traditional digital human production process, HMS Core proposes a simpler digital human full process solution from the perspective of lowering the threshold and improving ease of use. The technical capabilities behind it are not simple. In fact, faced with the difficulties and opportunities of digital human landing, many companies at home and abroad are competing in this track. This includes not only technology giants such as Apple, Meta and Nvidia, but also startups such as Neon and Datagrid, which expand the territory of the digital human industry with their own software and hardware advantages. With the crowd of players on the track, what is Huawei's confidence in reducing the cost of using people? On the one hand, in terms of AI and other technologies, Huawei has also been conducting research and accumulation over the years. According to Huawei, among the 50 most cited papers in IPS in the past 5 years, and the 20 most widely used papers in ACL in the past 5 years, each has a paper from Huawei's Noah's Ark lab, and the 30 most cited papers in ACL among them, there are 3 related papers. Huawei's rotating chairman Xu Zhijun has previously disclosed Huawei's AI R&D data. In 2018 alone, Huawei's AI R&D investment reached $1.5 billion, and the R&D team exceeded 5,000. In terms of content, there are many researches related to digital humans such as multimodal technology in these papers. In a new paper included in ACM Multimedia 2022, Huawei Poisson Lab proposed a new model called MMTG in conjunction with the School of Artificial Intelligence of the National People's Congress, which is intended to allow AI to understand mixed images and texts when they see them, and create new texts to further enhance the expressive ability of digital people. On the other hand, it has unique application scenario advantages. As an important part of the Harmony OS ecosystem, HMS Core provides a series of comprehensive end-to-end and cloud-open capabilities, which provide strong support for the landing of digital humans on the mobile terminal, and even the Harmony OS ecosystem. The Sign Language Digital Human created by HMS Core 3D Engine and Sign Language Service has been opened for integrated access to third-party apps such as Unhindered and Shein, which can be directly used on mobile phones and bring convenience to the hearing-impaired people. How to grasp the 270 billion market. In fact, not only sign language digital people, but more scenarios are currently facing the use of digital people. According to the Qubit Virtual Digital Human White Paper, the market size of my country's virtual digital human will grow rapidly to 270 billion in 2030. Divided by demand scenarios, there are mainly identity avatars and service avatars. Identity avatars are virtual idols, avatars of real dolls, etc. The common application scenarios of service avatars include banks, government halls, and studios. There are also sign language interpretation scenarios. The number of hearing-impaired people in China has reached 27 million, but the number of professional sign language interpreters is probably less than 10,000. 3D Sign Language Digital Human can quickly popularize the national common sign language while making up for the professional talent gap. At present, we can already see that more and more digital people are starting to work. With the technical investment of Huawei and other big manufacturers, the cost and the threshold for use are also further reduced.